Hey guys, I just watched Ghostbusters 4, Ghostbusters 4, and, I kind of have a lot of thoughts about it, I don't know. So a little background first. So I wouldn't necessarily say that I grew up with the Ghostbusters, like as a franchise, cultural zeitgeist and all that. Of course I knew what they were, but, overall, my first like true exposure to them was, Lego Dimensions, that Toys to Life video game that was a thing, and then it wasn't a thing. I had the Ghostbusters, the level pack, and with that, you could play kind of through the events of the movie, but it was all Lego, and it was a lot of fun. But the level was kind of repetitive because you just kept going back and forth from the same set piece. And then I think a year or two after that, so it would have been like 2016, 2017, or have been like, I don't know, 13, 14, or whenever, like the year after Lego Dimensions, the year after the Ghostbusters level pack came out. Um, I finally, on a whim, found the Ghostbusters 1 and 2, like special edition DVD pack that they had at like Target. It was like $5, so I picked that up. I ended up watching both of them. I really, really enjoyed the first one. Not so much the second one, but that's not really a unique opinion. And by that time, um, the new Ghostbusters, the female led version, was in theaters. So I ended up watching it with my dad. And for the time, I thought it was, passable, but I still wasn't really all that familiar with the franchise. I was just getting myself acquainted with it. I had like just seen the first and the second one, or no, 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 sorry. I saw the female led one first, and then I saw the original Ghostbusters 1 and 2. So that did kind of like cloud my judgment a bit. I don't really want to say that, but don't really have a better turn of phrase for it. Um, so at the time, leaving the 2015, 2016 female Ghostbusters, I was like, oh, hey, that's pretty good. But after watching the original, the first Ghostbusters, I was like, oh man, I can see why people would say that this is a classic. And then the second one, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see why this one is much less, loved than its predecessor, the 1984 versus the 1989. Not to say that it was a bad movie at all, but, the first one really was like a cultural touchstone of the 80s. Not that I could remember that, but, my hairline might make you think I was from the 80s. Anyways, that was really it with my exposure with Ghostbusters. I had a bit of a phase there again when the story pack for the female led Ghostbusters came out. That one was fun. It was like 5 levels instead of just the one level for the original Ghostbusters. But really, by that time, I kind of, knew what was what. Um, by that time, and by that time I mean like 2021, the reboot came out, the Ghostbusters Afterlife. Um, and by that time, my life was kind of in a big transitionary period, so I didn't watch it. I was gainfully employed. I had just started my tenure at AMC Theaters that I currently have, and I love my job. Um, so I would sweep a lot during that post credit scene where it was Ernie Hudson talking to what's her face, the secretary lady. And I basically got that down pat by this point. Yeah, I want you to have this. Oh, we might not come. You get the script stuck in your head when it goes by like 30 times. Um, but I never actually seen it. So, going into this one, uh, the I knew I had to see the original. The original being the 2021 version. Um, so yesterday I had went to my public library. Had to renew my card because I was down in Florida doing some Disney business. Had to renew my card, and then rented the movie. I watched it last night with my mom, and I had really enjoyed it. I was like genuinely pleasantly surprised, and I'd heard good things. Um, but it's a reboot, excuse me, especially after 30 some odd years, 40 years actually, since like the original. You really wonder, Ray Atkinson, Bill Murray, Ernie Hudson, CGI Harold Ramis. It's like, you know that they're not going to be the focus, but that's what people are mainly going to be talking about. Are they going to be able to hold up to, what's expected of the modern viewing audience? Not to say that they wouldn't, but, stepping back into those old shoes could kind of, some bones might creak as you step back into that jumpsuit, is what I mean. Um, but no, really, they were great. Maybe a bit underutilized, like I had read a review online going into this new movie. It was like somebody was like, "Oh, well, there could have been a B plot of Ray Atkinson, getting the band back together, so it would have made more sense when they reappeared at the climax." And I'm like, yeah, no, I could see that, but I think overall the product that we got was very serviceable. Um, Especially as a hesitant step back into the old universe shoes. The post credit scene of the 2015-2016 one wasn't going to go anywhere. Um, but now we were kind of back to basics here. And so really I had a lot of some very high hopes going into this new one for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. So let's talk about the good. Paul, I don't think that there were any bad actors in this movie. Obviously you had Paul Rudd back. I love Paul Rudd. Anything that he's in, I will just gobble that up. Even Halloween 6. Ooh. He was great as Ant-Man. He was also great in the last movie, and nothing's really changed here. He put in a very good performance. Really enjoyed the stuff he was doing. He had great chemistry with the rest of the cast. So my issue definitely wasn't with the actors or the set pieces. Good action. There were a lot of chase scenes in it, and I really enjoyed that. My problem just kind of came down to character inconsistencies. I suppose my biggest problem with it was there were a lot of story beats that felt very contrived. Like, okay, the writers were like, okay, so I know we have point A and point B, and so we already know what those are, but we just need to get these characters to this position as quickly as possible. It really overall just kind of felt like maybe a second or third draft of the movie, when really I think that two or three more really could have been beneficial. I would hesitantly say that I enjoyed the movie. Like like I said, the action was great. The new characters they introduced were, they were fun. The ghosts that we saw, very enjoyable. Sorry, I'm shaking a little bit. I'm pretty cold. Ooh, Frozen Empire. Um, it's it was good. I just really wish it could have been a lot better. You know, the movie was almost 3 hours, but it really felt like it was dragging its feet for a lot. It felt like a lot was taken for granted, and then a lot more was kind of left on the cutting room floor. Um, like, spoiler warning at this point at 8 minute 30 seconds. Um, Phoebe gets like a ghost friend, which overall I think that premise is kind of. It could be done, but I think that the execution here was a bit weak. I don't know. Uh, and then there was like she tricked her to open the gates for the ice god Grog or whatever his name was. And it's like I could see what they were trying to do. I could see the story under the rough, but it just really didn't like pan out the way that I felt it could have. Um, I mean, would I see it again? Definitely, but I don't know. I wouldn't. This is a kind of hesitant, not even like a misstep, but kind of like a stumble as you keep walking through what could potentially be a very profitable and invigorating Ghostbusters franchise. So I hope that this one does well. I really do hope that this does well at the box office. We'll see what the critics continue to say as it gets released tomorrow night, but overall this I check it out. 7 out of 10, but story beats, elements, I think that there could have been a draft or two more that could have been used. So yeah, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the next movie.